Hello and welcome to this romantic forecast for the week of the 23rd of May 2022. I have a 6-card reading. This is exclusively for Patreon, and the cards actually want to come out in twos today, whereas last week they kind of came out in threes. So we're going to start off with our first two cards here. Now this is looking at romantic relationships, but also platonic relationships, friendships. It is about the relationship as a whole, and I think it's quite symbolic that the cards want to come out in twos. So it is very much about being in pairs, but it's also about polarity, finding balance in the middle and bringing opposites together, which is something I already touched on in this week's regular weekly forecast. If you haven't watched that, I will link that above for you. Now, it's an interesting week when it comes to relationships, in particular romantic relationships, because there is a lot of, it's kind of, we're all dressed up with nowhere to go. That's the feeling I get this week. It's absolutely, we're ready to move forwards, or we think we are, or we're absolutely ready and we've waited so long, and it's not quite the moment to move forwards this week. This week there could be delays, there could be dates being put off, it could be that the person you're interested in has gone AWOL or just isn't responding to your messages, or a partner or boyfriend, girlfriend. And it's a frustrating energy, but it's one that can also go to extremes, because we have, in some ways, these cards are sort of polarities from each other. So it could be that things go very, very, very fast in a relationship, but perhaps too quickly, or they could be going too fast for one person and too slow for another. So there's a lot of opposition coming up this week in relationships. And this could be at work relationships as well, or friendships, family relationships. You may find that opposition, that number two energy coming up, which is about opposition, polarity, a lack of compromise, not being able to see the other person's point of view. So just bear in mind that there may be some issues with communication this week, which would make sense because the throat chakra showed up in the weekly forecast as well. So that is very much about communication. There could be some communication problems between partners or prospective partners, but I just want to reassure you that things are actually going in the right direction when it comes to our relationships. We are finding ourselves with certain challenges for a reason, and it is so that we can actually bring in more balance as we move forwards. So our next two cards, we've got the Nine of Summer and the King of Summer. Now this is very idealistic. This is basically what you want to see in a romantic if you're doing a romantic reading, you would hope these two would come up, because that's a fantastic sign. It's the wish card and the wonderful partner. So it could be that the right person may actually show up, or you may meet someone who very, very, very much is a perfect match for you in many ways, or for you at this point on your journey. Now, I do want to just say with this that it's very important to remember this week in particular not to settle, because there may be a bit of a temptation to settle for less than you actually want, or less than you actually deserve, just because it seems to be taking so long to get what you want. Okay, and that's not a good thing to do. Just because it's taking its time, it doesn't mean you lower your standards. All right, keep your standards high, keep your eyes on the prize, stay focused on what it is that you want from a relationship, because the energy, it's slow for a reason, because we are all evolving at the moment, and we will find each other when we are supposed to, when the time is right. And it's not quite the moment, although you might feel like it is. You may be absolutely ready to enter a relationship and the right person just isn't showing up, although you've seen it in the cards, you've felt it intuitively that they're on the way in, and I'm sure that they are. But it's not quite the moment for everyone just yet. So hang on in there, get yourself ready, put on your dress, get ready for the ball. There's a real Cinderella feeling with this card, with the fairy godmother. And then there's the handsome prince waiting over here. So it's almost fairy tale type levels of relationship and romance here that we're looking at. So it could be wonderful. And I feel that there really are genuinely fantastic people coming in, whether it's on a romantic level or on a platonic level, really special people coming in, who will really chime with you and really bring a lot to your life, regardless of their relationship with you. So keep your standards high. Don't make any friendships that aren't quite right. Don't hang out with people whose energy brings you down just because there doesn't seem to be anyone else to hang out with. I think ultimately Particularly right now, we're better off on our own than with people who drain us energetically or who pull us down to a lower vibration, because that is particularly important at the moment. We must keep our vibration high. We must remember that against all odds, Fairy Godmother is sending us to the ball. Even if it doesn't feel or look like it at the moment, we're going. The person is waiting for us, or the outcome that we want with the person we're already in a relationship or waiting to start a relationship with, or perhaps tentatively starting a relationship with. So it is going in the right direction energetically, I think, but in romance it may really not feel like it this week. So our last two cards, which I'm going to lay out like this, there we go. We have the Emperor and the Five of Winter. Let me just move those up. There we go, so you can see them a bit better. Oh yeah, let's get all the text on camera. So again, quite a grounded, sensible energy coming in with the Emperor on that very grounded number 4, the foundation. So you are being asked to be logical in romantic relationships this week, and I know that's a big ask for some of us. Stay away from people who do not resonate. Walk away from people who are not good for you. It may be time to make a difficult choice in a relationship this week. And I think I talked about difficult choices in the weekly forecast last week, towards the end of the week. But it's a time for some difficult choices romantically this week. And it may be that it's time to end a relationship that just isn't working, or perhaps it's toxic and actually draining you or harming you in some way. Or perhaps you're putting in a lot of effort and getting absolutely nothing out, or only breadcrumbs, which just isn't good enough. There's a real feeling this week, and this goes for platonic relationships, like I said, as well as romantic, that if you're putting in a lot of energy and getting nothing back, it may be time to walk away. And the same with people who drain you. You know the ones. You may have them because you're loyal to them, because you knew them at a different time in your life, or you've known them a long time, or they helped you at some point. Doesn't mean you need to stay friends with them and stay in a close relationship with them, because that relationship could be doing you more harm than good. You don't have to hang around somebody's energy. Somebody can help you one time or be a friend at one point, but they may not be supposed to stay in your life forever, or they may not be supposed to be quite so close to you forever, because you may be harming yourself through that loyalty and through being unable to move forwards, perhaps staying stuck in some dogmatic belief here with the Emperor, this like cathedral church in the background, that to me that symbolizes dogma. You could be stuck in these beliefs that say, oh no, I should stay with this person because I should stay with my husband, wife, partner, whatever, because, or I should stay friends with this person because. But we can say all of those things, but ultimately if that relationship isn't doing us any good, on the long term it won't be doing them any good either. Some people actually need to be left by others to realise that they have faults they need to work on, or perhaps that they need to do things for themselves. So it is, I think, a week of difficult choices in romance and in all sorts of relationships, but there's certainly light at the end of the tunnel. The good stuff's coming if only we can hold out for it, if only we can keep that belief, keep it alive that the good stuff is coming, because it's absolutely on its way.